Hey guys, welcome to Camille Over Chai, a show about business, life, and everything else in between, all over a beautiful cup of chai. I'm your host, Camille Talicia, and on today's episode, we are going to be talking about gratitude for yourself. So grab your cup of chai and join me back here right now. Hey guys, welcome back to Camille Over Chai. I'm your host, Camille Talicia, and you may notice that we have a guest with us today. This is my dear friend, Miss Life Coach Tasha Champion. Say hello.
Hello, everyone. I am enjoying my wonderful cup.
Yes. So today's topic is all about gratitude for yourself with the subtitle / AKA self-love is the best love. And I'm going to allow Tasha to introduce herself to explain why she is the perfect guest participant host. I don't know what we're calling it yet to be featured for this topic. So take it away, Tasha.
Hello, all, and thank you so much, Camille, for that wonderful introduction. Yes, I am Tasha Champion, and I am a certified master life coach. What I specialize in is helping women reactivate the self-love they may not know exists, they may have lost, they may not know how to regain that self-love that they feel like they've lost. I also teach women how to experience authentic happiness, what true authentic happiness looks like from the inside out, because so many women now, they look for happiness outside of themselves, and we have to take it back and bring it inside. That's where true authentic happiness exists. So I'm here today to talk about self-love. It's absolutely one of my favorite topics. I do workshops on it. I'm actually preparing another workshop about self-love. I love for women just to connect to themselves and keep themselves on a beautiful pedestal. That's where we all deserve to be.
Yes, 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 yes. So as you can see, that is why we have the beautiful Miss Tasha Champion today. And it just so happens that we are actually friends in real life. So this is probably going to be a very entertaining episode with a lot of laughter. And
Yes.
as you, oh, excuse me. And as you guys know, I as you guys know, I am Camille Talicia and I am a business and transformation coach. And I know I don't usually talk about it a lot on the show, exactly what I do, but what it is that I work with entrepreneurs and professionals on transforming the shit that is keeping them from actually achieving their goals. So we deal with mindset, we deal with fear, we deal with the things that are keeping you stuck and stagnant, and we break through all of that shit and then work on your goals so that you can have the life or the business or both that you desire. So that is what I do. That's why I do the show. That's why I talk about business, life, and chai and all of that just the same. Okay, so moving right along, trucking right along. So for those of you that are watching this from my Facebook page, I am so excited to share with you guys that we are now on YouTube as well as in podcast format on Apple Podcasts as well as Google Play Podcasts. So if you don't have time to sit and watch a video on Facebook or YouTube, you can hop in your car, pull up the podcast, subscribe, and listen to what we're talking about there. So that's the announcement. Boop, boop, boop. That's exciting. All right. So you know what time it is. It is time to talk about the chai of the day. Doo-doo. And today we are both drinking America's Bigelow Classic Vanilla Chai. Oh my gosh. On the screen, mine is backwards. And I want to tell you guys it's so funny because number one, I asked Tasha to hop on here last minute. That's how much of an expert and a professional she is. I was talking to her about 4 hours ago and I was like, hey, I'm going to be filming tonight and I want you to be on there. And so she said yes. And I told her that I would love for her to also be drinking some tea, preferably a chai tea. And she was like, well, I only got one in my closet. Nope, in her pantry.
Pantry.
In her pantry. And when she told me what it was, ironically or coincidentally or just kismetly, I had literally just picked up the same box of tea at the supermarket. So it was truly meant to be that she was on this episode today. And so we are
Yes.
now going to discuss the Bigelow vanilla chai black tea. For me, I don't love it, but I am not a huge vanilla fan. So to me, it's not spicy enough as a tea, as a chai. And so, yeah. What do you think, Tasha?
Well, for me, I'm not the biggest fan of chai. And had you not asked me if I had chai, I never would have pulled this back out of my pantry because literally I've only had one tea bag out of here. But what I decided to do was make it anyway. And I actually added the almond milk vanilla creamer, and it's a lot better. I actually will drink more of this with the creamer. So I like it, but I'm also a big vanilla fan.
Ah, okay. Well,
So that's the difference between you and I. Like, I love the vanilla.
look at that. Oh, and look at your mug. What is it? Hold up. Bring that back
Oh,
for the
yes.
people.
Can you see it?
Make
Make
today.
today amazing.
Yes. Okay. So, as you guys know, I have the kit.com kit where I put the links to all of the teas when possible and also the mugs. So if I can find a link for the Bigelow Vanilla Chai, I will put that on the kit. And that is kit.com/Camille Talicia /Camille over chai. A little bit long. If you're watching the video, you will be able to see the link. The link will also be in the show notes for the podcast. So don't you worry, audio listeners out there. And I will also try to find a version of Tasha's mug to put in the kit. And the mug that I have today is actually one of my mom's old mugs, and it has like bees on it. I don't know what that's about, but it says, "Believe and achieve, believe with your heart, and surround yourself with believers," and something else.
That's
So cute little
beautiful.
bee things that are like cute. So there's that.
Beautiful.
All right. So let's get into it. I don't know what this clapping thing is today. All right. So today we are talking about gratitude for yourself, aka self love. And what I want to first discuss is what self love means to me and also to Tasha. And then we are just going to let the conversation flow from there. So, guest, would you like to start or would you like me to kick it off?
You know what? I am just going to go ahead and jump right in.
Hey.
So, self-love is definitely the relationship that you have with yourself. You are responsible for your own happiness, your own joy, your gratitude, your gratefulness. And all of that starts at the core of self-love. What I want everybody to realize is what self-love is not, and that it's not selfish. It's actually selfless, and it's not compromisable. Your self-love has to be your top priority if you want to see everything else in your life through beautiful eyes. You must start with self-love.
Okay, come on, Tasha. Okay. Um, for me, when I think of self-love, the first word that comes to mind for me is honor and honoring myself. And it's basically like what you're saying is that that has to come first, and it's not being selfish, and it's really just acknowledging my amazingness, and saying like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
Camille, you're pretty dope. You
Yes.
are a goddess. You are amazing. You are smart. You is kind. You is wise. But
And it's not arrogant.
right? No, it's just
It's not
really
arrogant.
about feeling good about yourself and just honoring yourself. Because I think a lot of times, and this is getting into a different conversation, but I think that we as a society don't really honor each other that much and honor the people in our lives, whether it is our friends, our family, our significant others. We forget to see the greatness in each other. And so a lot of that stems from the fact that we don't see it in ourselves first. So it's
Right.
like, if I don't think I'm great, I'm definitely not going to think you great, or I'm going to think you're great with contingency. And so,
Exactly. You're great
it's
because.
right. It's like, oh, you're great because you did XYZ, but don't let you do W. Don't let you do W, because then that takes away from your greatness, and you're just okay. You like, yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Exactly.
you on my level. So that is what self love means to me. And I think in the context of being an entrepreneur, or being somebody who is working a full-time job, and is a professional, or even just a person who is a parent, self love also means taking time for yourself, or for
Mhm.
myself, taking a moment, to be okay, make sure that I'm okay, to check in with myself every now and again. So it's like
Right.
honoring myself, but also making sure that I'm okay and that my cup is full, because I can't pour into anybody else with an empty cup,
Right. You have to operate from your overflow.
Mhm.
Once you start going into your cup, that means that you are really extending yourself out too much. So it's really important that you stay full so that you can operate out of your overflow. That's what's going to be really, really important. And what I like to do is remind women, like I said earlier, is that they're on a pedestal. And we all have these everyday things that happen. Like Camille said, we work, we parent, we are friends, we're sisters, we are so many things to everybody else. And what ends up happening is, by the end of the day, all of these outside things have chipped away at the legs of your pedestal. So then you have now been knocked down to this footstool. And we were never designed to be so low and sit on a footstool. So we want to talk about and encourage and love ourselves back up the legs of the pedestal and sit proud, boldly, beautiful, powerfully. Sit on that pedestal.
Yes. Yes. Come on, friend. You better say something today. um, the last thing I want to touch on, from what you mentioned about the overflow and not taking from your cup. Somebody said this, and I wish I could remember who or where I heard it, but they were saying that when you are giving to people and your cup isn't full, you are putting people in a position to be thieves. They are robbing you
Yes.
of your energy and of your, I'm not saying goodness, because that sounds like a whole other conversation. But they're taking from you and they don't even know it. And so then there's this resentment that comes, because you're like, I'm giving so much and I'm so tired and they don't appreciate it. It's like, but they didn't know. They never even
No.
knew that you were tired, or that you were running on low, you were running on empty. And so in your mind now, they've become thieves, when in their mind they thought that everything was good. It was all good just a week ago.
Right. And the other thing too is that when you're operating out of your cup and not your overflow, you start to fill yourself with the wrong things. You do. You start to feel the. So if you are lacking your self-love, then you allow people to give you the identification of what self-love should look like from their eyes and not from yours. And it's very important that we recognize what self-love looks like for ourselves. So especially with women in relationships, we tend to say, oh, someone broke down my self-esteem. Well, no, your lack of self-love allowed this person to give you the definition of your self-love. And it probably wasn't one that you wanted.
Because it was probably that conditional, I don't see your greatness type of love.
Exactly.
Because I don't see my own greatness. I mean, that's absolutely a consequence. Especially in romantic relationships, or even friendships. There, you can have a toxic relationship with somebody who you are not intimate with in any sort of
Right.
lovey-dovey way. I did just self-censor. I'm proud of myself for that. But I think also, if we talk about the consequences of not having gratitude for yourself, not expressing self love, when you are in your business. Like what can happen in your business when you aren't showing yourself love or appreciating yourself or honoring yourself when you're in business or when you're trying to build your career? Or I mean, we kind of talked about when you're a parent, but even in that capacity, and just as a context, just to give some context here, why we're bringing up the parenting thing. As I told you guys, the show is business and life, and Tasha is a parent, and I am what I call a non-traditional parent to my 14-year-old brother because our mother passed away last year. And so it's like, when was that? So she passed away last year. And so now I take care of him. And so in that sense, we both are parents. And, you know, that comes with its own set of responsibilities and
Yeah.
growth opportunities, and also areas in which you need to love yourself. And so that was just the context, so we can get back to the consequences of, you know, when you aren't loving yourself and how it shows up in those various areas of your life. So what do you think, Tasha?
I'm a single mom of 4, and I'm also an entrepreneur. And I've had to learn the balance of motherhood, Tasha, businesswoman. And if you notice, Tasha came higher than motherhood and
I
businesswoman.
did see that.
Yeah, because if I'm not at my highest self, then really I'm failing at being a mom, or I'm failing at being an entrepreneur. Because going back to the overflow or your cup, if I'm giving my kids everything from my cup, or I'm giving everything from my business, I'm sorry, giving everything to my business from my cup, what's left for me? Nothing. And I've been in that position where I spent nights crying, trying to figure out, what is it that I'm doing wrong? Why am I just always tired and exhausted? And really, it's simple. I'm not taking that time for me. So my callbacks aren't happening. The attention that my children need isn't happening. What I need to do, my calendar, nothing is happening. Why? Because I didn't just simply stop and remember that I have to exist first. So my business was starting to suffer. Motherhood, all of that. You have to be first in the most selfless, not selfish way.
I like that you keep repeating that, reminding us.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Yes.
I definitely agree. And it's funny for me, um, I feel like when I am not in a state of self-love, I end up in a state of self-sabotage, and that mostly shows up in my business
Mm.
because I am a full-time entrepreneur. And I can even excuse me, I can even address something that just happened recently. I feel like I'm just coming out of it, actually. You know, as you know, I finished my book, and like I was working, I was grinding on that, and I was, you know, I was doing everything, like staying up late, like up till 3 o'clock in the morning, doing rewrites and, you know, making sure the graphics were good and submitting and doing all that stuff. And so it's like I push, and I was super excited. It was something that it was a goal, so it wasn't a bad thing that I was working on. But in my grind mode, I was lacking balance in the take care of me mode. So now I'm
Right.
working till 3 a.m. and then I have to wake up at, you know, 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. and I'm not getting enough sleep because I'm not, when do I, if I work until 3, I'm getting home at what, 4, maybe 5. So I'm getting 3 and 4 and 5 hours of sleep, and I'm exhausted and my brain isn't functioning right. And so I ended up just, when everything was finally done, I crashed. I just, you know, it was
Yeah.
like, I just had a week where it was like, I wasn't really doing anything. Like I was sort of playing around in my business, like maybe writing an email, maybe taking a phone call, maybe making a social media post, but like things were not getting done and I wasn't planning. So November popped up on me and I wasn't ready for November with the stuff. I had the concept and everything, kind of like the framework, but I didn't have all of my stuff in place. So now I have to play catch up because I forgot to take care of me. And so in turn, I crashed. I went into self sabotage and I was like, okay, my brain isn't working today. I'm just not going to work. I'm just going to lounge. I'm going to go to lunch with my sister. So I had to find ways to kind of regroup and
Pull
find the
yourself
self love
back.
again, you know. And so that is a very real consequence that I think people sometimes forget can happen even when you are working towards your goal. So you are doing the
Right.
right thing, like you're grinding, but you have to have that balance. And that's something that I will definitely try not to do ever again. But yeah, I'm not perfect.
I think the thing that we want to drive home for any woman out there, especially when you are a mom and you're an entrepreneur and you're a sister, a friend, um, you just have to remember you. You really, really do. You have to remember you. And because women, we are naturally emotional. We're emotional beings.
Are we?
So what do we do? Oh, I know. Just a little bit. Yeah. Well, what do? We take on the emotions of everyone else. We stop and deal with everybody else's problem. The minute that phone rings and you're like, oh, I know this is about to be a draining call, but that girlfriend of mine needs me. So then we do that. And then we're taking care of our spouses. And then we get to work and we're even taking care of our coworkers. It's just our natural ability is nurturing. And the one person we forget to nurture, hello,
Sales.
it's ourselves. It's ourselves. So like, I totally get you, Camille, when you're saying like, I was just all over the place or I was doing this. And then you said, like you said, self-sabotage. It really does come in. Not only do you self-sabotage in a way that you start to kind of ignore some of the things you do, but then you start to nitpick at what you do. So it's like, oh, I did this great, but I could have done better. And it's like, so now you're discounting the positive. And you don't get to do that. You get to stand and congratulate yourself on what you get done and what you do and how fabulous it is. You get to do that.
So because you're my friend and because we
Mm-hmm.
are in the space of honesty, I feel like you throwing shots right now at how I was responding about my book when I to let y'all know, when I finished the book, I was excited for myself. And then because I was so depleted, I immediately was like, but you know what, girl, I could have done da 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 da. And she was like, ma'am, did you or did you not just finish writing a book?
Mm-hmm.
And twice because I rewrote it. So and that piece of advice that she was just giving, that was also I'm not gonna say it was shots because you didn't mean it with anything but love.
No, all love.
But yes, so I mean, I definitely, I'm just co-signing what you're saying is absolutely true. It's a reality that that does happen because you're and I was in a space of not honoring myself. Like I was not honoring what I had just accomplished. I was not
You weren't
honoring my
trusting.
effort, you know? So
You
absolutely.
weren't trusting yourself. Self-trust is really important.
It's a part of the self-love. Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
what are if you had to give 3 top components for self-love, what would you say that is?
As far as activity or just like a principle?
Principle.
Hmm. Okay. For me, I think it definitely, I mean, it's not even a think, it's spiritual. It is, I'm going to say spiritual, mental. I'm going to put those together.
Okay.
Relationships and health. And what I'll work backwards. Health. I am a full believer that a healthy body equals a healthy mind, which equals a happy life. Um, I know personally, like I'm not at my healthiest state right now, but I do, I am taking the steps to get back to where I need to be. But I
Okay.
think that in just paying attention to the foods that you're eating, even if you are indulging, like French fries are my one like favorite. French fries and popcorn are the two things that I could eat any time of any day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner with a glass of
Oh,
orange juice
wow.
or wine. Yeah, oh, hands down. Like
So you're eating a vegetable every
right.
day.
It's like corn, potato, it may be starchy, but whatever. Um, and so it's like even if you do those things in moderation and still balance it out, it's the moderation and the balance, it's like creating the balance in everything. And so taking care of your health, making sure you're moving and exercising, getting outside, getting fresh air, because all of that actually plays a role in your mental capacity. So as entrepreneurs, it's almost to your benefit to take the time out to at least do 30 minutes of exercise because it gets the oxygen flowing. It allows you to take your mind off of other things, like your business stuff, focus on something else, and ideas usually come when you stop, or solutions come when you stop thinking about the problem
Yeah.
and you're focusing on something else. So the health component for
Mm-hmm.
sure. Um, Relationships, and I almost didn't say relationships, and then I remembered very quickly, especially just looking here at you, and I'm like, I feel like just even having you on my show today is making it more enjoyable. It's made me more relaxed. Like I feel like I'm getting to showcase more of my personality, and that is
Yeah.
what good relationships do to your life. Like when you have good people in your life, whether they are business relationships, romantic relationships, familial relationships, or just friendships, when they are with the right people who have the right intentions for you and for themselves, who know how to honor themselves and honor you, all they will do is uplift you and make everything better. But
Yes.
when they are toxic or they're not great, uh, things don't. Things don't necessarily, things are not going to look up. Let's just say that.
Right.
And then lastly, the spiritual mental, for me, that is personal development, your relationship with God or your higher power, whoever that is. For me, I do a lot of meditation mixed with prayer and affirmations. I try to do that every single day, and I can feel the difference when I don't do it. Like, I see how my day, it moves differently when I didn't start off with meditation. Um, like I said, the self sabotage week, I think I went like 4 days without doing my daily meditation, and by the fifth day, I was like, oh, like I felt, like it just wasn't a good look. So making sure that you have a spiritual practice and then are also doing things to grow yourself as a person, to grow and stretch. And so
Right.
that looks like personal development books or workshops or whatever, like my book. Oh, damn, where is it? I don't have it right now. Plug to my book, which would be right here. So yeah, those are mine.
Just pop it up in the corner.
Yeah, right. What would you say are yours?
I think the first thing is being intentional. You have to be intentional about self-love, about self-empowerment, about self-value, self-respect. You have to be very intentional because we all have the same 24 hours in a day, all of us. And you can choose to give those 24 hours to everyone else outside of yourself, or you can be intentional and say, this time is for me. Just like you said, you went 4 days without meditation. You have to intentionally bring those days back into your life. I have to get up and meditate. That is my time to connect with myself, my spirit, my energy. Do you know how powerful that is? You have to be intentional about just spending time with yourself. So again, with you, I'm all about spirit and energy. What do I feel around me? Who is around me that shakes up my energy? Who's around me that doesn't make me feel good? That means I don't need you in my space. Because if you are, guess what I'm doing? I'm focusing on how much you're annoying me or how much your energy is not soothing my soul, and I don't want you in my space. Not in a bad way. I like the positive flow of energy. I like people that vibrate in a very high spirited behavior. And I like that around me because guess what? It reminds me of myself. It brings out the best in me. So it's about being intentional. It's about being spiritual. It's about trusting yourself. Trust is a very big one because sometimes we all go through hindsight is 2020 where we recognize something and we don't respond, we don't act, we don't walk away, we don't do something. And then later on, you're like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. So it's about trusting your spirit, trusting what you feel at that very moment. Because when you trust what you feel and you know something is good for you, guess what? You're not going to compromise yourself. And remember I said in the beginning, self-love is not compromisable. You cannot compromise your self-love. So just be sure that you don't do that. And self-care. Whether that is simply taking a 20-minute nap to yourself. Not with the kids in the bed, not with the husband in the bed, not with your books and your laptop, nothing. 20 minutes to yourself. That might be just going and taking a walk, going to the coffee shop and just having a cup of coffee or chai just by yourself. So you have to be very aware with just self-care. And one of the things that I recommend, I know a lot of women can't do this or haven't been able to, because now that I'm telling you, you should be able to do this. Just sit with yourself. By yourself, no phone, no TV, no radio, no laptop. Just sit with you. Sit with you. Get to know you. Get to know who you are. Get to know your quirks. Get to know and love your imperfections the same way you love your perfections. Just really sit and get to know you. Because what you're going to find is there's so much more beauty in you than you're even recognizing, because you're spending too much time facing the phone or on your laptop, on social media. If you just spend a few minutes with you, you're going to really realize how powerful and beautiful, bold you are.
Yes, I love that. And I love that you went into the self-care, because I was actually going to ask you what are what are I would say your top 3 favorite self-care activities that you do personally for yourself.
I would say one is being very aware of my body.
No, an activity.
Yes.
Like, give me
Activity.
an activity.
Okay, an activity.
It's like, I'm gonna stop you there. No,
You're gonna just stop me there, because you know I'm going straight to energy.
Yeah,
Energy is what I love, so I'm going straight to energy.
no, I just want to hear the activity.
Okay, for activity, I actually love to do self-concerts. I get in the mirror and I put on music, usually Beyonce because she's got so much high energy, or Michael Jackson because he makes me happy. And I just sing and dance in the music like my brush is my microphone. You guys remember doing that as a little kid? Yes. And I get in my mirror and I go full on Whitney, Anita, Bruno Mars, Beyonce, you name it, I can do it. I didn't say I sound like all of them, but it's one of the things that is just me.
Yeah.
It's just me in my mirror. I even get annoyed when my kids knock on the door, because guess what? I got to stop the concert. I was entertaining me in the mirror and now I got to stop. So yes, I love to actually just get in the mirror and sing and dance. It's so much fun to me. If you ever drive near me, you'll see me doing it in my car too. It's just what I love. So singing and dancing in the mirror, that's one. Meditation, that's definitely a big one. And being at the beach, just like right around the sun setting over the ocean, and the sand and the water, you just connect and you're in nature. And for me, my higher self is God, and I just connect to God. I see this beautiful world just right there at the ocean. And I see this beautiful world, and sitting at the ocean is only a very small part of the world. But I get to just be present in nature and present with God and present in my thoughts, present in my mind, body, and spirit. So yes, singing and dancing, meditation, and being at the beach.
Gosh, you make me miss
Self-care.
LA so much. That was one
Come
of
on home, honey. Come on home.
That was one of my favorite things I used to do, go to Dockweiler Beach. And, you know, because the airplanes would go over, and at night, like in the evening, I mean, the whole experience was just amazing, because you look at the beach and you're just like, look what God did. Like, look
Yes.
what he did. And then it's just calming and relaxing. And then you get to see a modern miracle, the modern miracle of flight, which I think I heard somebody say once, or maybe I said it, I'm not sure. But they were saying that you know, people take for granted that air traffic, no, flight. What am I trying to say? Okay.
Aircraft
People take
flights, something.
people take for granted that flying in an airplane, traveling by airplane is a miracle all the same because
Right.
we understand the technology of it. And so we think because we understand how it's done, that doesn't make it a miracle. But I mean, hello, gravity is a thing. Like we were able as humans, as a race of humans, a species, to figure out a way to defy gravity safely and consistently so that people could travel from location to location in what would have been a month-long trip by horse and buggy now
Right.
takes hours. You know what I'm saying? Like it's hours
Just
and
hours,
it's still
yeah.
nothing short of a miracle. It's amazing. And you just
Yeah.
watching them things, it's just with the lights and then they turn. Anyways, so
That is your thing. But you know what? I love the fact that this is, it's live video because you really get to see your expression with how you feel about these airplanes. And, I love airplanes. I like to see, I actually like takeoff and landing. It's my favorite thing about being on a flight. But, just for the audience out there listening, do you see how easy it is just to connect to something that fills your heart with joy? For her, it's airplanes. For me, it's singing and dancing in the mirror, giving myself my Beyonce concert. Yes. Connect to something that just fills your heart, fills your mind, fills your body, something that just makes you want to hug yourself, hug your heart. It's the best thing ever. Like, I could talk about self-love forever.
Girl, yes. Okay, so my 3 self-cares, favorite self-care activities, because there are several. Definitely meditation for sure is one, and I'm actually going to couple that with journaling because sometimes I'll meditate and journal and just journal what comes up or journal before and then meditate about that. And I it's been a really beautiful thing, a beautiful tool for me, especially over the last year, and just being able to process my feelings, process situations and experiences. And, even though it's still just me talking to me, sometimes it's me talking to the angels or talking to my mom or talking to God, you know what I mean? And so it does allow for a release and sometimes a different, an opening of the mind to a new perspective. A potential alternative perspective. Okay, the second favorite self-care probably is gonna be a really nice, long, hot shower. Like just kind of allowing the day to wash away and, the muscles relax a little bit. I have my in-shower lotion, so I come out feeling smooth and soft and smelling good, and then I just like lay in the bed and I'm like, yes. That long, yes. And then the last thing, I think I am also going to have to co-sign the concert, except mine almost exclusively happen inside of my car because I love to drive and I love my car. It has a really good sound system in there, and it's a small 2-seater, and so when I get the volume up, it is surround sound, and I am in my own concert space as well.
In your zone.
And it's like everything from gospel to Cardi B, honey. Like it just whatever the vibe is, and especially when I actually know the words. Ooh, that's when it's really good. You actually can sing all the words and hit all the notes. You're like, yes, oh, the shit. So,
wondering why you don't have a record deal.
Hello.
Yeah, see?
I know, and I know for sure people drive by me and think that I am having the best time of my life. And they're absolutely correct.
Yeah, and you don't care who sees.
I don't.
Because it's just that joyful moment.
Yeah. I actually want them to see.
All should be able to experience.
Yeah,
yes.
I kind of want them to see.
Ignite them to have a concert in their car.
Exactly.
Yes.
Spread the love. romance. Nope, not gonna do it. I almost did it. Did you see that? I almost did it. I almost did it. Oh my gosh. Okay.
So, okay, let me ask you, for a woman who hasn't been able to identify her self-love because of everything else that she has going, it doesn't mean that she doesn't love herself. It just means that maybe she's not really identifying just how much self-love and self-care she needs for herself because of everything else she has going. What would be the first thing you tell her to maybe try or maybe indulge in? What would be your first tip to her to just kind of reactivate the self-love or do something for herself?
This is something I just made up on the spot because it is what I just received. I would
Trust your
suggest,
intuition.
right? I'm like, I'm just gonna roll with this. I would encourage her or him, whoever. This is not, gender specific in any capacity. To make an
Right.
I am amazing because list. So take an opportunity.
Ooh.
Just get your journal, get your notebook. The bigger the better, because you got more lines to write on, and just write down all of the reasons why you are amazing and what that means to you. Like if you are amazing because you have a beautiful smile, because my smile lights up the room. When I smile, other people smile.
Yeah.
For the people out there listening, Tasha just gave a big old smile like I was talking about her. Oh, no. So, yes. So yeah, I think I would say start with doing an I am amazing because list, or yes, because everything is about you. And then what you're grateful for, and whether it's grateful for in yourself or grateful for in your life, because once you are in a space and in a state of gratitude, it raises all of the vibrations, regardless of what you are giving
Yes.
gratitude for. All of the vibrations raise at that moment, and so that would be my suggestion. What about you?
Wonderful. I'm going to expand on that just a little bit.
Go for it.
I'm going to tell you one of the things that I do is at the beginning of every month and then all month long, it's actually on one of my boards in my room here. Every morning I either write an I am statement or a gratitude statement. It's something. And every day I get to look at that. And then sometimes I haven't done it in a while. And now that we're talking about it, I'm going to do it again. I actually have my children do 30 days of gratitude.
Yes.
And I have them write it down because kids sometimes just think money grows on trees and that they just ask you for whatever, whenever, however. And even when they take a minute just to write down what they're grateful for, they get to see just really how much they have.
Yeah.
And you as a parent, trust me when I tell you, you will shine so much more when your kids really see how much they have when they write a gratitude list. But anyway, back to the self-care. So to expand on what Camille was saying, what I like to have women do is go in the mirror and use a Sharpie marker, because I promise you Sharpie will clean from a mirror, and write down the things that maybe you're unhappy about within yourself. Maybe the things that you don't like for now about yourself, the things that you wish you could change, or just whatever makes you doubtful about yourself. Write those things down on the mirror. And then every day, I want you to erase and replace that word. So, for instance, a lot of women, we're women, so we all tend to talk about, and I'm sorry, I know this is universal, so it's not gender specific, but I'm a woman, so I have to talk about me being a woman. So, yeah, I do. I do work with women. So what I like to do is tell them, so for instance, a lot of women talk about their weight. And every woman at one point or another says, I'm too fat. So if you look in the mirror and you've written fat as one of your things, tomorrow I want you to wake up and erase fat, and I want you to put fabulous. And then I want you to say it out loud. I am fabulous. And then maybe another one would say, I'm unsure. Maybe unsure, because a lot of women are unsure of themselves, unsure of their gifts, their talents. So then the next day you get to write, I'm sure of XYZ. And you get to say it out loud. So what happens is as you are erasing the negative words and you're replacing them with the positive words, you literally get to see yourself in the mirror with all these beautiful words that describe you. You get to see just how, again, wonderful, powerful, bold you are. So again, it's just erase and replace. Erase that negative word and replace it with a positive word and then say it out loud. I am fabulous.
Yeah.
I am wonderful. I am awesome. And sit in that for a minute. Don't just say it and walk away. Sit in it. Own it. Own how beautiful and awesome you are.
Yes. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. So one more tip question. The most important self-care tip for entrepreneurs, because again, business is the first topic of this
Right.
podcast. So since we both are entrepreneurs, like what do you feel like is one of the most important self-care things to note or to remember, to keep in mind, whatever comes up for you that you want to share in regards to your business?
Okay. So what I would say is treat your business the way you would treat yourself. Treat yourself the way you would treat your business. Because if you want your business to excel and grow and be a brand, it's going to have you as the face of it. It's going to have you as the forefront. So if you're treating your business like it's golden, but treating yourself like you're wood, you're not in alignment. So if you're treating your business like it's golden, you got to treat yourself like you're golden. If you're treating yourself like you're golden, treat your business like it's golden. Keep those aligned. Because if they're in alignment, you're likely to have so much more success.
Okay, I like it. I like it. Okay, okay. All right. So for me, I think the most important self-care tip that I can give for an entrepreneur is the reminder or the reassurance or maybe the bug in your ear that you don't have to do this by yourself. Entrepreneurs are typically ambitious people. We're overachievers. We are workaholics.
Yes.
Some of us are type A or some, things of that nature. And so we tend to take on all the responsibilities and all the tasks and all the burdens and feel like we have to know all the information and we have to be the expert and everything has to be in a line. Everything has to be right and perfect the first time or the second time only. Like it's first or second, no third or fourth chances. Um,
If it wasn't for third or fourth chances, we wouldn't be here having this conversation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like, and we have these high expectations of ourselves, whether we actually have the tools or the knowledge that we need to get it done to that caliber in the first place. And so the reminder is that it is okay to lean on other people in that sense, just as you allow people to use your overflow and you can share your overflow with others. Allow others to share their overflow with you, whether that is
Yeah.
a coach who is an overflow of experience and in knowledge and so they can support you in what you're doing, or that is an accountability group, a mastermind group, a business bestie. Maybe you take a class, a local class or an online class, or you
Mm-hmm.
read some freebies or you find some books. Just get some support and know that you don't have to do it all by yourself. Even you can get a virtual assistant to take some of these smaller administrative tasks off your plate that you don't need to do. Or you can find a personal
Right.
assistant, or you can hire your little sister, or hire a friend, or hire your kids to help you out with some stuff. Just remember that you also get to be supported, and you don't have to be Wonder Woman or Superman or Iron Man, whoever your favorite character is. You
Right.
don't have to be that person in order to be successful. Matter of fact, you won't be successful if you try to do everything by yourself. So, in allowing other people to help and support you, you are also taking care of yourself. And so that would be my
Very
number
good
one
tip.
tip.
I
Mm-hmm.
love that. I love that. Yes. Great. Let
Yes,
me
yes, yes.
cheers to that tip. That was
Yes, yes, yes,
beautiful.
yes. Mm.
We were toasting the chai
Yes.
just
Oh,
now.
for the listeners. Okay, so Miss Tasha, I want to thank you so, so much for coming today, last minute, being a phenomenal sport, and just being like, absolutely, yes, I'm there, and I have the tea that you want to drink already because we're in alignment.
We're in alignment. Yes.
So please tell the people where they can find you, what you're up to, what you have coming up next, and whatever else you want us to know.
Okay, so I'm not sure if we talked about it, but I am in the Los Angeles area. And that might be something good to know where you can find me. So you can find me on my website, tashachampion.com. I have some upcoming events that I have not put dates to yet, but they are definitely in the makes or in the works right now because I just had a successful event called Reflections of Self. And what that was is it was about women identifying where they are presently and how they can heal. And that conference went over so well that I have been asked to do another one, but co-ed. So officially, I just actually put it on social media today. I will be doing a co-ed conversation about love. And I'm going to do that with one of my other partners from the Core of You. That's, you guys will see about that. I love it. But yeah, they are a fantastic group of people, and we're going to do that conference together. It's going to be amazing. And then I also have an upcoming self-love workshop. I'm going to do that at the beginning of the year because I want women to be empowered about their self-love and self-care and take that on throughout the year. So again, it's tashachampion.com. And another way you can find me is something very near and dear to my heart is letterstocancer.com. I went through breast cancer last year. And again, you guys know I'm a single mother. So my children had become my doctors, my nurses, my media. They had become my cooks, my caregivers. They were everything for me. And I had them write letters to cancer because I needed them to express themselves. They didn't want to tell me how they were feeling because they feared hurting me. So they wrote letters, and these letters were so amazing that I decided to ask other people to write letters to cancer and just ended up turning it into a blog site. So I welcome you to visit www.letterstocancer.com, you too, Camille, and write your own letter and submit your own letter. You can request that it be put anonymously if you'd like, and that will be no problem. But it's just to allow your emotions to be heard. We've all been affected by cancer. We just want to make sure that your emotions and your feelings are heard and not held inside. So tashachampion.com or letterstocancer.com. Either way you go, you can find your girl, and I'll talk about all things self-love, self-happiness, self-value, self-respect, self-everything. You are a woman, you're powerful, you're bold. Be on your pedestal. On your pedestal. You're not a footstool. On your pedestal.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Awesome.
And so again, Tasha, I'm so grateful that you came today.
Thank you for having me.
Came online on the video.
I'm going to fly down to Atlanta, and you guys will get to see us do this like side by side.
Live in person.
It'll either be a business show or a comedy show, one or the other.
I feel like it might be a little bit of both. I don't know.
Both.
I don't
Okay.
know.
Yeah.
Okay. And so again, guys, as I said before, we are now on YouTube, and the podcast version is available on iTunes. Yes, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, and on the Google Play Music Store in the podcast section as well. Just search for hashtag Camille over Chai or just Camille over Chai, whichever is easier for you to remember. Please subscribe, review, comment, share the podcast, share the videos on YouTube, share the Facebook videos. Let's get the word out there and, talk about things. Let's continue the conversation about self-love and also chai tea because, chai is amazing in my book. All right, guys. So I really hope that you got something useful and helpful from today's conversation about self-love and gratitude for self and self-care. Again, comment below. Let us know what your favorite self-care practices are. Tasha's information will be in the information box or the show notes or the post, wherever you are watching this or hearing this or taking all this information in, wherever you're getting wherever you're accessing this from right now. There will be a way that you can link with Tasha and link with myself, find out how you can work with us, especially if you are in Los Angeles or in the high desert area or whatever it's called. She roams about all of that space. So
oh yeah, all over Southern California.
Right.
Yeah.
So you can go check her out. And if you're in Atlanta, of course, you can holler at your girl. And I think that's all we got for you today. And so we're out. So remember, love yourself because self-love is the best love. And do you have something else you want to say?
Remember that self-love is not selfish, it's selfless.
Beautiful. Thanks, guys. See you later.